It's about that time of year again, so it's time to do another gear loadout video. So if you want to see what's inside of my 2023 Ultralight gear loadout that has taken me about 3 years now to get dialed down to this weight, hang around and watch this video. I'll go ahead and start with the pack. This is the Light AF Curve 30 liter pack. I picked this pack up last year, but because of some circumstances, I really didn't get a chance to take it out that much. But I chose to get the 30 liter pack to fill a void kind of in my setups. I already had a 55 liter Arc Blast, a 70 liter Gregory pack. So I wanted to get the smaller 30 liter, and I did that to really kind of force myself to dial my gear in some. And it was actually, I think, a really good choice. I can get 2, 3, you know, if I really do it right, I can get a 4-day trip into this pack. I had this pack custom made, but it's fairly standard. You have the mesh, I believe it's Lycra mesh here on the outside, 2 water bottle pockets on the sides, which can hold 2 on each side here. You got your chair or tripod or whatever you want to carry, loop back here, and then the double strap up top to help cinch things down. Got a couple cords on the side to cinch things in, and then the famous Light AF foam padded shoulder straps. So I'll just start on the outside of the pack here and we'll work our way to the inside. First thing here, clip to the outside. This is a Spot Gen 3 satellite transponder. I've carried this with me for years now. It'll track, you can set it up to send tracks of where you're at periodically if you want to do like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and then you can have that sent back to whoever you want, your spouse, you know, mom, dad, whoever, and then you can program messages in here. So I have one set up, custom message to say when I make it to camp. You can just hit OK as if you want to do a check-in. I think this is 5-6 ounces, and like I said, it's come with me for all my trips now. I did throw out the idea here recently to leave it home, and that got shot down real quick by my wife. She wasn't having that, but I mean, I want to have it with me anyway. You know, I go out on a lot of solo backpacking trips. You know, rattlesnakes are out there, copperheads. It's always a chance that you might get bit. And like I say, when backpacking, I think that falling and hurting yourself that way is the biggest risk when you're out there, especially by yourself. So, you know, having the SOS capability is something that's always good to have. On the sides here, I just got my 2 smart water bottles, standard. I mean, you see everybody with this. And then I just get these smaller bottles and take the sports caps off of them and put them on top of here, because as far as I know, you still can't buy the 1 liter bottles with the sports caps attached on top. We'll go ahead and get into the mesh outer pocket here, and this is such a great thing to have. You can fit so much stuff into here. It's great. You know, I keep all my things that can get wet, so my rain gear, water filter, tarp, stakes. If I have wet tree straps or wet socks I want to dry out, all of that can go in this outside pocket here. So I just have a Sawyer Squeeze here. I keep that inside of my water scoop, just a plastic bottle that I cut the top off of. Pretty standard. And I do have a platypus quick draw ordered. I want to try that out because the flow rate on this Sawyer is already slowed down. I back flushed it. I think it got killed when I took it to the dolly sods. So I just want to try something new, but for now, and what I have been using for years now, is the Sawyer Squeeze. And then I just carry a water bladder bag here. These are the Evernew, and this one's a 2 liter. I was just carrying a 1.5 liter, and then they didn't have those available when I wanted to buy a new one, so I got the 2 liter. I prefer to just scoop water into here and then filter in and keep my water bottles clean. That's just the way, you know, that I prefer to do it. Some people I know like to attach their water filter to the top of their bottles and just put dirty water into here, drink like that. There's different ways you can do it, but this is the way I like to do it. And another advantage of having a water bladder bag is that if I know I'm going to camp somewhere where it's a dry campsite, I can fill this up and I could hypothetically carry about 4 liters of water into camp with me. Next up, we got the rain jacket. This is the Outdoor Research Helium 2 lightweight rain jacket. Like I said, I've carried this thing for a long time now. I've never had it wet through on me, but I am going to reapply the DWR coating on this again before I really start going out this year. I know that's a complaint that a lot of people have, and I just have not had that issue with this jacket. It does not wet through for me. Got a pair of camp shoes here, and these are just your couple dollar. These came from the dollar store. Have been using these for years. I'm just waiting for them to fail on me. They got holes in the bottom from me trying to stamp stakes in the ground, walking around. They're still going, so I'm still using them. A camp shoe is something that I always bring with me, especially for trips when your feet are wet all day. It's just so nice to be able to have something to walk around in, dry your feet out. And when I'm setting up my hammocks and stuff like that, I can slip these off, make sure that I'm getting a good hang. So, you know, this always comes with me. Next up, I have a Z-Packs rain kilt. I use this to keep the rain off the lower half of my body in storms, and it does a pretty good job of that. But it also doubles as a ground sheet for underneath of my hammock when I set up. So I'll open it up like this and put all my gear on it at nighttime, and that you know, just gives me a nice place to stage my gear for the night if I have, so I don't have to be sitting it on the ground. Next up is my stakes. I carry 4 MSR Groundhogs just inside of this little stake sack. And attached to each of them, I keep a reflective guy line with these Dutchware Tarp Fleece, I believe they're called. But these make setting up super easy. Just hook these on each end of my tarp on a little piece of shot cord that I have, and then you make a loop and it just cinches down and makes setting up a breeze. But, you know, I just used the full length Groundhogs, and then one of these is even bent from some rocks on the Black Forest Trail, but they keep going, so I keep using them. Next up, last thing I keep in the mesh pocket on the outside here normally is my tarp. This is a Hammock Gear 12-foot hex tarp, no doors. I keep this attached to a continuous ridge line, and then I keep it inside of some snake skins here, wrap it all up. Setting up with this is a breeze. I just string this across, use this little Dutch wasp here, and setting up is a breeze. Super lightweight, Dyneema, and a Dyneema tarp can definitely save you some weight on your pack. We'll move inside the pack now. At the very top here, I have my Melanzana microgrid fleece. I keep this at the very top of my pack so that I can easily access it when I need it. And then if I just need to stow it away if it starts raining, I can put it in there. But I heard that you can't get these anymore. I got this a few years ago through the lottery, and it just works well for me. In 3 seasons, this keeps me plenty warm. If I need a little extra warmth, I can always throw on my rain jacket. Big fan of this. It's a great piece of gear. Next up, I have my little electronics bag. Inside of here, I just keep my headlamp, the Nightcore NU25 with the shock cord Lightsmith mod. Haven't had any problems, not much to say about this. It's a classic, it just works. I keep a pair of wireless earbuds in here. These are Jaybirds. I have other pairs. Just always want to keep a pair of these with me, hiking down the trail on rough days. It's nice to be able to throw these in, kind of zone out, knock out some miles. At nighttime, if you're camping around other people, it's nice to be able to put these in so that you're not disturbing them. I carry a Nightcore MB10000 power bank. This will get me through probably 2-3 nights. If I'm going on a longer trip, sometimes I'll throw another one in there. Like this power block a lot. And then I just carry a couple cords. I got a micro USB here, and I carry 2 USB-Cs just to make sure that I'll be able to charge my phone up. Next up is my food bag. This is a Z-Packs food bag. Got my titanium long handle spoon inside of here. Then I got a rucksack, and inside of that I got my line to hang my food. I believe this is Lotion reflective line, and it's great. The reflective is really good so that you can find your food in the morning if it's still dark. At night, it's just really nice to be able to shine your light on this and be able to find it. And then I just have a toggle on here for you know, when I hang my food. I'm a big proponent of reflective stuff on gear when you're backpacking. Makes a big help. So whenever I can get something reflective, I probably am gonna get it in reflective. Next is my cook pot. I keep it inside of this little drawstring bag inside of a Reflectix cozy, which is always nice to be able to, you make coffee, put it in here, keep it warm longer. This is the pot. Like I said, this is the 550 milliliter version, and I believe that this is the perfect size for me, because this is just enough to boil 2 cups of water, which is the most you're going to need for most freeze-dried or dehydrated backpacking meals. It's just enough water to make a good cup of coffee, so really happy with this cook pot here. Inside of there is just a little windscreen I keep in there, and then my tiny little BRS stove. I have had this thing for years now, and it's still going. For whatever I paid for it, can't beat it. It still works. Works great. Tiny little thing. Pot fits on there great. It's a nice little setup if you're trying to save some weight. This right here is a good setup. Next is my toiletry kit. Pretty simple, pretty standard. Got my toilet paper. I got a little thing of Body Glide in here, which is non-negotiable. I always bring this with me. Right when I start a trip, I cover my toes, feet, like back of my ankles and heel area with some Body Glide. I think it does a lot towards helping preventing me from getting blisters. So Body Glide is a non-negotiable thing for me. Just got a little toothbrush in there, some toothpaste, and some hand sanitizer. Next up is what I would consider my first aid kit, but there's some random stuff in here. Pretty standard. I don't overdo it, but I got pretty much everything I feel that I would need inside of here. When I transitioned to this frameless pack, I don't have hip belt pockets anymore, so I had to move some other things that I would normally keep in there into here. This is the tiny little knife I carry, the Opinel. It's a carbon number 7. The top just twists here, folds out. Nice sharp blade. I think it weighs 1.1 ounces. This is more than enough than I would ever need on a backpacking trip. It'll cut anything that I would possibly need to cut. And most trips, I never even need to use it, but it's nice to have it with you. Keep a packet or 2 of Pickard lotion in here in case the bugs get really bad wherever I'm at. I got a little bit of Luco tape in here. I got some Gear Aid tape, some Dyneema patch tape, a couple bandages, 2 lighters. I got some matches in here, Benadryl, sinus pills, sleep pills, ibuprofen. I got an extra Sawyer gasket, some chapstick. Pretty basic, but you know, I feel it's adequate. I have my hang time hook, and this is one of my favorite pieces of gear. This comes with me on every trip. It's non-negotiable. It's just worth it to me. When I'm in my hammock, this just hangs on the structural ridge line, and then you clip your phone inside of here, and you can watch whatever you want while you're laying in your hammock. I love this thing. This is a great invention. Whoever came up with this idea, thank you. I got my tree straps. These are 12-foot Dutch wear polyester tree straps, and on the ends of them I keep a Dutch clip on each side. Makes setting up a breeze. Wrap it around the tree and put the line back into itself like that. I can set up. It makes for easy adjustments. Just makes sense to me. Next up is just a simple Dutch sit pad. This is good for in your hammock. If you're in a 3/4 length, put it under your feet, keep them warm if you get a cold spot at night. Great just to put down and sit on instead of sitting on a rocker log. And then in this frameless pack, I put it right where my back's at to give it a little bit of structure there in the back side of my pack. And now we'll be moving into the bottom of my pack, which is where I keep everything that I want to keep dry inside of a Nylofume pack liner. I twist it up, push all the air out of it, and fold it over. Even though these packs are waterproof, you always want to take that extra precautions, because it really is costing you almost no weight. So it just makes sense. This is my clothes bag. On 3 seasons trip, I keep it pretty basic. I carry 1 extra pair of hiking socks. These are the Darn Tough quarter hikers. And then I carry just 1 pair of dedicated sleep sock that I know will always be dry. When I go to sleep at night, I can have a dry pair of socks. Here I just have a basic polyester t-shirt, and this is a compression short, both synthetic, polyester I believe. And these are for sleeping. I always want something dry to sleep in. It's just nice to know that when you get to camp at night, you got something dry, you can get inside your warm quilts, something dry, and you know you're gonna sleep good, even if you've been walking in the rain all day. Next is my hammock. This is a Dream Hammock Darien 11-foot. This is in a 1.3 MTN XL fabric, so this is a wide hammock. I freaking love this thing. This is my go-to. Primarily, this is what I use. I could shave a little weight by getting a different hammock. I could get a lighter fabric, but this one is just so good for me that I don't see a point to change, to shave maybe an ounce or something. Now we're down to the very bottom of the pack. This is where I keep my quilts and 3 seasons. This is my Hammock Gear 40-degree premium burrow top quilt. And this is more than enough for 3 seasons here in Pennsylvania. I love these quilts. I trust them. You know, they're quality gear. I know that I could take them down to the temperature that they're rated for. And I'm even comfortable that I know that if temperatures maybe drop 5 degrees below their rating, I know that I'll still be okay. Then I have, to match that, I got a 40-degree premium Phoenix underquilt. So this is the 3/4 version, and in my experience I find that 40 degrees and above, you're perfectly fine with a 3/4 length. When you got your feet in the foot box of your top quilt, and if you use a sit pad or something, my feet are never cold down to 40 degrees. If I'm gonna get, my advice is if you're gonna get a quilt rated for less than 40 degrees, like a 30 degree or less, I would recommend probably just going for the full length, because I think there's a good chance that your feet are going to start to get cold in a 3/4 length when you start to get down into the 30s. And that's just my advice. You might be different. So 40-degree 3/4 set. So that's it for everything that I carry in my pack. I'll quickly go over my clothing and trekking poles. The shirt that I'm wearing the most now, this is an Outdoor Research Echo sun hoodie, sun shirt, whatever you want to call it. And I transitioned into wearing one of these because there was a few times where I was out before the leaves were really up on the trees and it got really hot and sunny. There's no canopy to block out the sun. It's just exposed completely and getting beamed by the sun. And that made me want to get something with long sleeves and a hood here. It's just so nice to be able to put this hood up if you're getting hit by the sun, have the long sleeves. It's a very lightweight material, so it really doesn't make you that much hotter at all. And for me, it's worth it just to be able to get that protection from the sun when you need it. Underwear, just outdoor research, synthetic underwear. I'm not even sure exactly the name of it. Shorts. I always like to wear shorts out there when I can. These are the Outdoor Research, I believe they're the Feroci shorts. So this material is awesome for shorts. It's very water repellent. Water will generally just beat up, run off of it. It's comfortable to hike in. Really been liking these shorts since I switched to them. Before I would wear like a running short with a mesh liner, things like that. And that was fine, but you know, I've really been liking these Vigor shorts from Outdoor Research. I always rock a hat out on the trail. For me, I just like to be able to kind of keep that sun out of my eyes, keep ticks from falling on my head. And all my clothing is treated with permethrin, and especially my hat. I douse this thing because I figure, you know, the ticks are falling from the trees, whatnot. So I want that protection up here. Just a trucker style hat. Socks are darn tough quarter hikers, wool socks. These socks last for years. They're still trucking, they're comfortable, and they just work. So check them out if you haven't already checked them out. The shoes I'm rocking are the Ultra Lone Peak 6s right now. Just started wearing these ones for this year since my old ones needed replaced. So you're never gonna see me rocking the newest pair of shoes. I'll usually just get one generation older, save 50, 60 bucks, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So these Lone Peak 6s are what I'm gonna be rocking for this year, probably into the next year till they need replaced. I just put a runner's loop in these to help cinch them down. And then inside I do put a Superfeet Trailblazer insole. And these insoles with these shoes is just a great combination for me. My feet don't bother me much at all on the trail. They got good traction and grip here on the bottom. The wide toe box is one of the most important features for me, because in the past when I have worn shoes with smaller toe boxes, my pinky toe would literally after a while just start busting out of the side, and that's super not comfortable. And I think that was the cause of a lot of my feet problem in my earlier backpacking trips, like trips that weren't filmed early on. And then I just attach a simple pair of Gators. These are Dirty Girl Gators. You can clip them on here. And that is one thing that I noticed from the 6s, from what I had, I think the 4.5s. They no longer have the metal clip for the Gators, which I kind of don't like that, because when I'm trying to clip this Gator onto the shoe there, I've already had it go like right through the shoelace here into it, kind of splitting it. And you know, that could be a weak point of potential failure down the road if that keeps happening. So that's something I want to keep an eye on. That kind of don't know exactly why they would have done that. And then my trekking poles are the Lecky Microcarbon Vario. These are awesome trekking poles. I've had these for years now. They still haven't given out on me. Keep some duct tape wrapped around each one in case I need some of that. You never know when you might need some duct tape for. And I mean, these do break down in 3 pieces, and they got some battle scars, man. I was looking at this the other day. These poles have held up, and they have definitely given me their money's worth. So I'm gonna keep using them until they fall apart, because they're still going. So this is a piece of gear that I can highly recommend. The Lecky Microcarbon Vario. And that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got some useful information from seeing what I take out on the trail with me, how I do things. Maybe can give you some ideas for how you do things. This is not the definitive how-to way. There are a million different ways to backpack, a million different ways you can take your gear. If you watch some of my other videos, I take out packs in the high 20s. I've had 30-pound packs running around. I like to do a little bit of everything, but it is nice to have an ultralight setup for when I want to be light and quick. If you got some value out of this video and you want to see more like it, gear reviews, backpacking loadouts, trip reports, consider hitting the subscribe button. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one.